Hello and welcome back to Larissa's Kitchen. Tonight we're going to put my twist on a classic brunch menu item, Eggs Benedict. I call them Kaiser Wilhelms. They were created by Alec, named by me, and loved by all. The ingredients list is almost identical, but the cooking techniques are far easier. Okay, we are going to be making hollandaise. So you are going to need 3 egg yolks, a stick of butter that's been cut up, that's half a cup, 1 tablespoon of water, 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, a teaspoon of kosher salt, and about a half teaspoon of white pepper. We are going to be substituting Kaiser rolls for the English muffins, hence the name Kaiser Wilhelms. We're also going to be using Canadian bacon. Now, I'm not going to leave this in its rounds. We are going to cut this into strips because it's much easier to eat that way. You're also going to need 2 eggs for each person that you're feeding. Okay, so we're just going to cut these Canadian bacon pieces into strips. Alright, we need to take this Canadian bacon over and get it put into a pan, and then we need to start on the hollandaise. Okay, before we get to making these, we actually have to think about where we're going to be putting everything on the stove, because we're going to have 3 pans going, but not all at the same time. So first, I've got my pan with my Canadian bacon, and it's just going to stay here on low heat warming up. Next, this is where I'm going to go ahead and make my hollandaise, but it's also where I'm going to make my eggs afterwards. So this pan will eventually move to the back. So just prepare beforehand. Alright, so let's get started on the hollandaise. Okay, we're just going to go ahead and add everything in at once. Well, minus the butter. Okay, and then we're just going to start whisking this. Okay, the primary concern with hollandaise is that you don't want it to be lumpy. And we can achieve that by just making sure we whisk the whole time. Now, most directions have you adding 1 piece of butter at a time. There is no need to do that. You can just put all the butter in at once and just keep stirring. And we're going to eventually have this sauce completely thicken up on us once this butter is all the way melted. And that's when we'll go ahead and turn off the heat. Okay, all of the butter has melted, but you can see this is still very, very loose. So we're going to keep cooking it until it thickens. Okay, this has actually started to thicken up. We don't want it to get too thick or else it'll start to curdle. So we're turning this off the heat, and then we're going to just set this close by. Ow, that's hot. Alright, and now we're getting started on the eggs. Okay, the biggest difference between the Kaiser Wilhelms and the Eggs Benedict are the fact that I'm going to be frying eggs rather than poaching. Frying is so much easier than poaching eggs. Okay, we've got to have everything in place before we start frying these eggs because it's going to go fairly quickly. So I've got my toasted Kaiser rolls on my plate and everything is ready to go. Alright, this pan has been preheated. You can see that the cooking spray is clear. So we're going to go ahead and carefully drop these eggs in. We don't want to break the yolks. Going to give it a little bit of salt and pepper. Again, just a tiny bit, about a 1/16 of a teaspoon. Tiny bit of pepper. And then a spritz real quickly on top with the cooking spray to keep the top from sticking when we turn this over. Okay, you can see that these whites are still not set all the way through. Now, this is going to be an over easy egg, so we want to make sure that the whites are set on the bottom before we turn it over because it's only going to be on the top side for about 10 seconds. Okay, these are about ready to turn over, so we need to make sure that they're loose and slide your spatula under and then just carefully turn them over so that you don't break the yolks on the other side. And we're only going to leave this down for about 10 seconds. Okay, we need to get a little bit of Canadian bacon on each piece here. Then we need to turn our eggs out. And then we are going to just very gently ladle on some hollandaise on top of all of this. All right, let's get this tasted. All right, let's give this a taste. Those eggs are cooked perfectly. This is so delicious.